Hey Colin, how you doing?
Thanks.
Adroit Synthesis. You make, I mean, we've done this before at some of the Synthfest place where we've had VCV rack makers. You're making modules for the Voltage Modular, Cherry Audio's product, right?
That's right, yeah.
So tell us, what are we looking at?
This particular module is a granular synthesizer, which is a third-party module which you can buy to add to Voltage Modular. It's fairly state-of-the-art
Lovely
thing.
graphics.
Yeah, I used to be a games programmer, so there's a little bit of input from that.
Nice.
Which is quite noddy in comparison with some of the games I've done lately. So basically, it's you've got a sample in that window there, and you can generate grains which sample that. It's capable of doing up to 500 grains at a time, providing you've got a powerful enough CPU. So you can get really, really
Can I have a bit more
texture.
level on that? Just maybe a centimetre or so. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, nice. So it's traditional granular synthesis. Is there anything specifically unique about the way that you're doing the grains, or is there something?
The way pitch is handled is quite unique, I think, because there's a quantization input here, and you can feed that with a polyphonic signal, and it will do quantization on the grains. So you can effectively get like a granular chord effect.
Nice.
Now, this module here, you can see there's a chord playing. If I hit the chord, so you can play particular notes on there, and that will affect the pitches of each grains.
Oh, that's nice.
So also the grain count is pretty impressive. So you can go up to 500 grains, providing you've got a powerful enough CPU. This is quite a mid-range laptop, so it's it does struggle if you push it too much, but it can still do nearly 500 grains.
And what's the kind of audio effect of that? That just makes it smoother or more higher resolution?
Yeah, we've got more grains, and each grain has got its own pitch, amplitude, envelope, stereo position, and amount of reverb. Right. So you can get extremely rich textures, especially stereo image-wise. If you've got like hundreds of grains going on all at a different place, so you get a lot of movement and texture, really rich. It's particularly good for ambient sounds.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing. This is like a kind of a nice little moment of peace and tranquility in the middle of all this.
Yeah, compared with all of the the analog vintage stuff, which is like, some of it's pretty brutal. So this is very laid back. I mean, it can do quite aggressive stuff as well.
So what's it like? I mean, as a developer, what's it like to develop for these kind of for this kind of thing? And what made you choose the Cherry Audio platform?
Mainly because it's Java. I mean, I come from a programming background, started off with assembler, then went through C, C++. C++ is quite a mess, whereas Java is a much more modern language. Although it looks very similar to C++, it's actually much more user-friendly and more powerful.
More modern libraries, I'd imagine.
It's much more modern, yeah, even though it looks the same. So you can do some programming in Java in a more elegant fashion, really. It's just, far easier. So the fact that it relies on Java is great. It also makes it possible to port from PC to Mac with no effort whatsoever.
Because I know with a lot of plugins, it's all about the graphics handling, isn't it? That's a nightmare. It's like a certain thing.
Graphics handling, it's not too bad really in this. I mean, although there's quite a lot of graphics going on here, it's not actually that complex what's going on under the hood.
Oh, that does sound nice. So how do people get hold of this? Is this sort of like an in-app purchase, or is there a store?
Yes, if you go to Cherry Audio's store, there are lots of modules for sale there. If you just look at Adroit Synthesis modules, you'll come across this. It's only been released like 2 months, so
And what sort of price do they charge?
This comes at $45 US.
Right. Okay.
So it's reasonably affordable.
But you do a lot of other stuff as well, right?
Yes, something called the Large Scale Sequencing Project, or LSSP for short. And that's a 52 module suite. And it's all about sequencing in a large scale, so you can build entire songs rather than something that's just got 16 steps. It also has a lot of modules for harmony, so the various ways you can construct chords. And this chord memory module is actually an LSSP module borrowed from to use this so that you can control the chords in the Granular Synth. But there are lots of different modules in the LSSP. It's a huge thing.
So lots of logic, I'd imagine, and that kind of stuff. Lots of logic and that kind of thing.
It's more. But the unique thing about LSSP really is that timing, rather than being using clocks, it uses voltage instead. So just like you have,
so you advanced.
So you've got like 1 volt per octave system, which everybody will be familiar with. So 2 volts is 1 octave higher than 1 volt. In LSSP, timing's dealt the same way. So it have a volt per bar. So bar 1 begins at 1 volt, bar 2 begins at 2 volts, and so on.
Oh, interesting. And does that work in real physical terms as well? So can you break that out and get that level?
Because it's just a voltage, you can look at it. Yeah. I mean, the benefits are that the wiring's really, really simple. So there's no need to reset sequences. You can run sequences backwards simply by having a descending voltage instead of an ascending voltage. You've got quite simple mathematical operations that can change time.
So you get 10 bars, right? 10 volt on a 10 volt range.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So and you can change the flow of time. So if you add a voltage to it, I mean it moves it later. If you subtract a voltage, it moves it earlier.
Change the flow of time. There's a tagline for you.
There is actually a module called the time flow changer. What that allows you to do is set a fraction, so you can say something is 4 times faster, or 1/3 of the speed, or 4/3. So you can put in quite complex fractions.
That sounds like a whole new video we need to do at some other point.
Yeah, it's quite deep. My website is massive. It's something.
I'm just going to go and take a shot of your.
Okay.
There we go. We'll just do that, and then people can scan the QR.
Oh, you're interfering with my thing. Yeah, I've got a massive website. It's not very polished. It's something I've put together myself, but I've spent maybe 6 months on it. So there's an awful lot of detailed information in there.
Oh, brilliant! Okay. And what's the address of that?
It's adroitsynthesis.com.
Nice.
And there are tutorials in there as well. So because a lot of LSSP is quite innovative, this volt per bar system is quite new. So there's a lot of explanation. There are tutorials that you can follow. There's a lot of in-depth information. I mean, for instance, the Granular Synth page takes about 2 hours to read. There's a lot of depth. You're not talking about just the 1 sheet of A4. There's a full description.
It's a veritable dissertation.
Yeah. I mean, quite often they start with the documentation. In fact, I'll have an idea. I mean, I'll start writing right early on in the development phase. So by explaining how something works.
Old school coder writing the specification first.
In effect, I mean, it does obviously modify, and they have quite long beta periods.
Brilliant.
So,
Colin, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good to see you.